Hello, Grey Zoners. I've been browsing the Steam Community Hub discussions lately, and I've spotted a few threads where people are crashing to desktop or receiving the Unreal Engine error when the game closes. I once was a victim to Grey Zone Warfare crashing until I did a bunch of changes to my system. I literally could not play this game at all. So with this experience in mind, I'm going to try and help you guys solve any problems you might be having. The first thing you should do, and I cannot stress this enough, but update your graphics drivers. If you're on Nvidia like myself, then download or open the Nvidia app, then go to the drivers tab on the left and hit download new driver. It's that simple. If you're on AMD, then use the Radeon software. Another thing I did was update my Windows. Now this probably doesn't fix the game from crashing, but it's always worth a try and you'll normally get a better experience with your system. With this next one, I'm not personally going to give you a guide on how to do this, but there are plenty of guides scattered on YouTube. Just make sure you're downloading for the correct manufacturer of motherboard, but update the BIOS. It's a very quick and simple process and ensures your hardware is all running to the best it can. If you are struggling with this one, then don't feel scared to ask for help in the comments and I'll try my best to get you in the right direction, because I know back in the day when I started updating my BIOS, it was very daunting at first. Once everything has been updated, I went ahead and turned off any overlays that might be running over the top of the game. I turned off Nvidia Shadowplay, Xbox Game Bar, and the Steam overlay. I was that desperate to play Grey Zone Warfare, I even uninstalled Wallpaper Engine. I know a lot of people love to use that piece of kit nowadays, but any extra resources you can free up goes a long way in this game, trust me. Now moving on to in-game settings, make sure your shader cache has finished downloading before you enter the game. If you think this might have caused an error, you can always go to the settings and re-download the shaders. If you're still suffering from crashes after trying the previous steps, then it is recommended to run everything on low settings. Now for this next one, if you're on Nvidia, there is some mixed opinions on the preferred upscaling. Now, if you were like me and you bought either a 13th gen or 14th gen Intel CPU on day one, then unfortunately I have some bad news for you. These CPUs basically came off the production line with a hardware fault. These processors can be made more stable with a software called Intel Extreme Tuning Utility, but it will never make it completely stable. The only hope with these CPUs is if a god tier BIOS update releases, and they have been working hard trying to fix these issues, trust me, because I've been following it. If you'd like to know more, then Intel released a full statement on this, which I will link in the description. And the worst part about this whole ordeal is it mostly affects Unreal Engine based games, and guess what Grey Zone Warfare runs? You guessed it, Unreal Engine. So back to the upscaling. If you're on a 13th or 14th gen CPU, then I recommend you stay on Nvidia DLSS. If you're on any other CPU, then give XESS a try and see what works best. The only downside for XESS for me is when I scope in with any long range scope, then my FPS drops to below 40 for a couple of seconds, so keep that in mind. Also, for some extra tips, I've had this on since day one, but quickly make sure you have game mode turned on in Windows settings. This will improve your performance while playing games by reducing the amount of background performances. And that's all I have. Since doing this, my game has been running perfectly fine, with just a few crashes here and there during alt-tabbing. Hopefully Grey Zone Warfare continue to work on optimization so everyone can have a smooth experience in the future. That's all for now, guys. See you in the jungle.